They've been playing it at the highest level for the longest time now. E-District, does that give some of the newer teams, some of the teams that haven't been able to play out every single scenario through online, through splits, and through LAN, a better chance to theory craft, to find a new angle to play the new map from? And maybe this is a hint of that here from Noctum.
It's something refreshing. It's something new for Noctum to also lean on when it comes to the strategy that some of these teams have opted to go for when it comes to transitioning and adapting around E-District. You can expect a lot more teams in these final zones. Although in a final zone like that, it brought everybody out into the open, but they still were able to patiently play. And in that 3v3 fight versus Green Stego, it had to do with isolating that one player that tried to push. It just took enough timing to put down the dome. Now he's separated. Now his team cannot give suppress fire to help him out. And then the Newcastle wall. That was beautiful from our squad here as we get to look at the heavy hitters. Johnny with the 5 KP. Guardian Angels, we got the 4 revives. Sides with 7 assists. That's another team. LG, maybe waking up a little too late, but better late than never, as I always say, especially after that 4th game.
Yeah, I mean, LG, they're currently in 30th spot with 60 points. That's quite some way away. We're having a look at the series results right now. You can see with that dub, Noctum does get clear of the pack on 47 points. Guild with the good ratting play almost makes it into second with 35, and Complexity solid just a point above them.
Crazy to see from Noctum all the way down, right? How close it is within second place, even going all the way down to Team Falcons there. And the overall scoreboard has allowed Noctum. I said earlier that they elevated themselves after winning Game 3 to 6 points in the overall standings. Now they find themselves in second place right behind Fnatic with 132 points.
Yeah, so you can see some of these teams currently playing in their 3rd series, like Fnatic, like Noctum. That's why they're pushing up the top of the scoreboard. The fact that Alliance is there in 4th with 120 points and they've got a whole series yet to play is bonkers. But as we were talking about, anyone who's got a 3 next to them, they're currently playing their last series, right? So LG are currently sitting at 60 points. They probably need at least 25 to 30 points more just to be in contention here for winners bracket. They've got 2 games, 1 map left to do it.
You know, it makes me also wonder, with Noctum that had played in the earlier series, earlier in the day, into then playing in this series, building up that momentum and carrying from one series to the next, not really having any cool time for them to really have to kind of warm up again. They really just started up just as quickly after that 4th game, 2 games back-to-back, Genome. And we are going to make that transition, though, out of E-District. We are moving on to Storm Point. And you never really know what to happen here because Noctum, we already seen that they've been able to really do it. Can they keep it going as we move on to Storm Point? Don't go anywhere, guys. We got some more Apex Legends action coming to you right after this break.
Ready for war, attacking my option, they can't say no more.
Oh, the trick shot, Oh my God, I'm clipping that.
Everywhere that you go, I be on your heels, I want out of smoke. A manifest this to reality, this not a fantasy, so that you know. A beast to a beast, we are family, and on the real, this is not a horse. You never approach, I went on the post with my killers and foes. Burning the flame, they call me insane. Say it in vain, you know the name. action, ready for war. Attacking my option, they can't take no more. It is your choice, what you waiting for? Let them burn till they all hit the floor.
The Apex Legends Global Series is a proud partner of the city of Sapporo, the capital of the North. Herman Miller Gaming is a proud partner of the ALGS. Today's players are competing in the Embodied Gaming Chair. Find out which chair is best for you guys at hermanmiller.com/gaming. And our coaches are sitting in a Phantom gaming chair with 7 unique colorways, and you guys could try one out at the free-to-play area located here in the concourse. If you guys are here visiting Sapporo, it's been a fantastic time. Look how beautiful these chairs are. I mean, the cherry blossom theme, it makes me really just want to see how comfortable it is, because you can never go wrong with a great chair.
It makes me want to stick around until cherry blossom season in Japan, frankly. I think it's still at least a couple of months until that, but I hear it's quite beautiful, so who knows, maybe I'll be back.
I'd be down to join you, honestly, when it comes to seeing the beautiful things that Japan has to offer here. But you know what else I like to see? The beautiful things that our group is going to have to offer on Storm Point for Groups B versus C. The last time these groups will be able to perform before they wait their fate, after they get to sit down and watch how Groups A versus D play out to see whether they're going to be in the winner's side of the bracket or the loser's side. And at the moment, Noctum has definitely made a statement today alone. Don't believe we saw them take a dub just yet on Storm Point. Earlier today, we saw the dub on World's Edge. Now we saw the back-to-back on E-District. We kind of have to hold our breath to see how they're going to be able to transition onto Storm Point, or are one of these squads that are now starting to wake up going to start ramping up. LG doing fantastic in that last game.
All right, let's have a look at the POI draft for Storm Point. Who's prioritizing? GG going for Mill. Fast rotation, Trident, plenty of love for that POI. Falcons, who used to pick that, but unfortunately didn't perform well enough to have priority, have gone for Lightning Rod, but, you know, has similar rotational advantages from up the hill there. Disguised, they've gone for Ceto Station. This was a powerhouse for them when they played during the split in APAC South. Had some of the most nut stats. I think they had like a 40% map win rate at one point from Ceto Station. It was something nuts, like 10 plus, 12 plus points a game. And yeah, look, that said, are they the same team now? Well, physically, no, there's a different person in one of the chairs. Unfortunately, Easy Flash no longer with the team. Have swapped them out for Arctic. And yeah, look, if anyone's wondering, like, no, they, you know, this isn't the Timmy team anymore. Obviously, they went over to 100 Thieves, and Disguise picked up the old Legends Gaming roster. You know, a lot of switches have been happening. Wouldn't blame you if you're getting some of the teams mixed up, but this is, of course, Player K, Strafing Flame, and Arctic now.
Yeah, honestly, that offseason roster mania for real out here. While we get to take a look at our first game on Storm Point. Last 2 games left to go, guys. And already the action has started. The drive-by, though, is able to steal that Trident and get away from Fnatic.
Oh my, so they've all gone through, you know, the gravity cannon section of the wall and rushed straight at Zero Tenacity. And honestly, if I was Fnatic, why not, man? I mean, this is a team that they shouldn't be respecting, frankly. If I was in their position, why not try and get that if you do, you know, get some half-decent guns? I mean, if you're all walking out of there with a Mozam and a Dream, you know, the long sightlines of this POI may not exactly suit you, but yeah, sure, if you've got a Devo off the rip, give it a shot. Especially
when you know that the main objective there for Zero Tenacity is to try to get that Trident. They know that there's going to be an isolated player there. Currently, Zero Tenacity are sitting in 12th overall, but Fnatic could not pick up that KP, only doing a bit of damage before navigating back to the wall where there is a ring console too.
I mean, it's also kind of interesting, right? I mean, Meteor went for Northpad in 60th pick, the very last pick of the POI draft, and it's kind of fascinating that an actual POI is being picked well after the no-name area, and that's essentially just because Tridents are so strong in this meta.
It's huge. We've been seeing it as some makeshift cover, but also being able to go for those quick rotates and substitute for the Catalyst, like we were talking about earlier, Genome. Some of the squads that are forced to run Catalyst are the teams that may not have access to a Trident themselves. So seeing how they're going to be able to work around the edge of the zone, we know where the zone is going to be pulling now over by Stormcatcher. See Complexity, I called the evac tower earlier on too, so that way they could get into a position very early over by the hillside.
GHS Professional currently in 19th in this lobby. Actually looking to pick up some more points here with a zone right in their lap. Never ends on Stormcatcher, but you can sit up there and use that as a solid base to go anywhere around it to pick up some KP as well.
I always prefer to be on that east side of Stormcatcher too, just in case that circle does end up pulling over to that side while Noctum. See that they were getting pinged by a team in the distance. It was Disguise that had actually ended up rotating away from them. Green Sego right there on their 6. There was an Evil Harvester there too, so some of these teams trying to take advantage of the Evil Harvester on their pathing. GG right next to them too as well. Going to be able to drive by with the Trident. How many squads though? How many squads here? Oh, but Gil getting off though. This is crucial. They're literally dropping like flies. They didn't have it. Oh no. Holding my breath literally here. He was forced to use a Newcastle. Gibby gets re-knocked. They dirty him. Everybody with a G7 singing as Falcons pick that easy KP up from Guild. I was going to say, everybody just driving by with the Trident. They were getting off. I don't know if there's some sort of miscommunication right there, but they got up early, and that was just easy for Falcons to clean up.
Yeah, as we've mentioned before, as someone's getting shielded to death there. Looks like it's Gaming Gladiators. The other two got out. That's fine. If you don't have the bubble, you can't really be riding around in the Trident. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, we didn't see the full picture. Was it either they were like, oh, we can make it the last couple of seconds, and then they just get picked up by a couple of teams at once? Were they being greedy with the bubble? It's hard to say. But essentially, once the bubble's going to run out, you need to park the Trident, get out of it, wait another 12 seconds, and then get back into it again. You really just can't risk driving it around without the bubble on it. You are just in far too vulnerable position.
Especially when you're moving in an area where there's like 5 other teams looking at you, right? Because that's going to be extra damage here. You see Green Sego, they're pinging around them to try to plan out their pathing, see what position they want to be in, because there's already so many squads within the area. We know that in a circle like this, it could easily shift over to the right side. That's what I'm expecting usually by that hillside, which is why we saw Complexity quickly rotate there off of the evac tower, almost meeting up with Falcons. And Fnatic waiting in the distance as the Trident moves up. Oh, he gets off.
Stick.
Just respawn.
Stick.
Shax doesn't know. Gaming Gladiators get the respawn.
They go for it.
They try to do it with the Arc Star. They miss out on the stick. And as you said, Genome, you have to have that bubble ready.
I mean, it actually looks like there was an Arc Star on the car, but maybe they got the bubble up after it got stuck and therefore was still safe.
Zach putting up that Newcastle wall right underneath the bunker door, though, calling in the Gibby ult 2. Trying to engage on this fight, trying to create this space. Zach lets it flow here with the Mozambique, gets it first initial knock onto Metafe. Sliding out though, I like the way that they're playing around this natural cover too, but they cannot let the reset happen here.
Door closes, removes the Newcastle wall. As a result, we're getting flashbacks to Mannheim here with the Akimbo Mozams.
Do get that knock, but they're going to be able to easily get the res right afterwards because we saw them just drive away off that Trident. VP get to count their blessings here, getting some of that KP. And the fighting has not stopped this time around by the wall between Meteor and Zero Tenacity.
They didn't push their luck any further. Looks like they eventually went back into the wall and continued their looting. Meanwhile, Meteor moving up from North Pad into Zero Tenacity, the two landing next to each other. North Pad and Trident.
Not forget about Fnatic's positioning too, right out of that cave, right? Because now they can easily third-party this as they come forward, though. Hearing all the action happening over by wall, trying to see if they have the opportunity, and they're not the only ones, right? Noctum are right behind them, coming from wall.
Okay, crouch walk from Fnatic. Pings go out. They know where some of the enemies are. Do they know where all of them are? They're probably not expecting Noctum on the other side. You're at an advantage, I'd say, here if the other team is firing first, because then you can make the decision about whether to back off, to wait a little bit longer to third or fourth party. But it looks like Fnatic might have been the ones to give away their positions in the first instance.
Meanwhile, the Rat of Meteor is just looking at all this action happening in front of them while they're forced to still play inside the zone. Fnatic pinging, they hear them right on the other side of the knockdown shield. He gets another knock. Leica getting some more KP while now Noctum finally making an appearance. Huge nade coming in to be able to knock Bambino. Remix gets the knock. Another one around the dance of the mobile shield. Nice patient play. He needs some backup from the rest of his squad. Here comes a Newcastle utilizing a lot of this utility. The single from Meteor, though, now also coming in.
Zero Tenacity down. Knocked him against Fnatic. Their point total says they can play with the big boys. Their 3v3 says they can as well.
The Meteor solo was also able to steal a kill. He is still alive, by the way. Look at him in the distance from the north side by the bunker. And Noctum don't even know.
This has been such an impressive series, really just announcing their presence to the world. Incredible.
Got to keep it rolling here. Noctum. Also going to be able to all that loot. They're going to have that ring console too if they don't have that information already, but it's going to be difficult because you see where the circle's pulling. And I was saying maybe shifting over to the east side. Look at this zone. It is going to be pulling to the south side here. And LG are in a great 50-50 rotate opportunity position where they could either have rotated north in case it moves over to the right, or in this case now since it's moving to the south side, they could go uncontested on their rotate through this choke to the south.
Yeah, hold on. The way this zone is pulling, I mean, as you said, it won't finish on Stormcatcher. Does that mean we get it on the hill below where currently there are no teams? People, I think, are maybe thinking about it now. We're seeing a few push out towards that gravity cannon. Source is in the spider choke next to them. Then you got VP and GG on either side.
You know what actually ended up working in favor for GG? They had gotten their res over by Launchpad. They took their time to reset. They got the ring console there. And since nobody was around them when they got that respawn, they were able to walk from that south side for free because, like you said, there was no one there originally.
That's right. They were zooming out. Let's pick their third up. Reignite. Playing the position. Oh, actually, were they Dark Zero by then, or were they Reignite when they won from this position? Yeah, no, I think they were DZ by that point. That's how I always think about the position east of Stormcatcher, you know.
But it changes. Aurora now facing off against Orgulous and Hungry, while Noctum make an appearance from the Trident, trying to get down to see if they can get some more KP. Again, the timing of these third parties, that is the goal that Noctum has opted to go for with the way that they've been dominating in the last 2 games alone on E-District.
I'm a little bit surprised with the Orgulous and Hungry performance so far. You know, there were so many lands in a row where Matafe was struggling, and then all of a sudden at Mannheim we saw flashes of the team that showed themselves when we play online, when we are during the EMEA splits. And I was kind of, you know, most teams, once they've sort of got that monkey off their back, tend to really start showing up, but it's not been the case so far here in Sapporo.
Either way that this meta has treated them too, right? Just trying to figure out whether you want to play for that final circle positioning since they are one of the teams running that catalyst. It's difficult as Orgulous and Hungry now move up right in front of, I believe it's still going to be Noctum on the other side, and Aurora looking to see if they can try to third party this in the distance.
Well, if there's one team you don't want to go up against right now, it's definitely Noctum, and that's who OAH find themselves looking across the ditch at. They've got no fear. I mean, they just took out Fnatic. They can take on anyone in this damn lobby, and it looks like they're going to. If they get a crack off this Sky Nade, you can believe they are going to full send this. 85! That's pretty good! Let's go, Remix! Get in there!
You know that's the best feeling too, when you eat the nade, you know the positioning, he gets the blast off the Mastiff! Oh, but the trade-up, and is it working with 4 teams within the vicinity? He can't get it from the back. That's what I was wondering, the G7 shots hitting from the back and knocked him, get eliminated.
It was GG though! That was from way up the hill!
Grieving.
Like, they're behind like 2 other teams up the hill, so I don't know whether to give credit to OAH there or if that was a little bit unlucky from Noctum just taking too much damage from the back. That said,
That was just them counting their blessings. You know what? Like them being able to see, okay, we have time to reset. Thanks, GG. But Falcons were also engaging in a fight here.
Falcons, three-way here. LG and Reignite below them. They're on the better side of this, but they don't have Z-o-o. Right, just recently taken down. Finished off there.
Good work out here with LG having Reignite right to their right.
Oh, I think they're rezzing him right up the hill, actually. I think they got the banner. Yep, there we go. Z-o-o. We just saw a flash of the green transponder coming in off the respawn beacon up the hill.
Although with Ring 3 now closing in, you have to commit to the direction of where you want to go into that next zone.
There's not a lot of time for that, right? GHS Professional will have seen that respawn. Dragons also, two teams staring at them on the way in. Typically, as they made these approaches, especially in the first series they played yesterday, they didn't work out. Teams, yeah, they're really hitting these shots when it comes to these rotations so far.
But they did have a trident around them, so they were able to zoom beyond Dragons, beyond GHS, and everyone's looking at them, but they're managing to get away for now. It's still going to be very difficult to find a spot with the amount of teams that were over there by Stormcatcher, but now with the zone closing in, a lot of more of these squads are going to know where that zone's going to be pushing.
Incredible, and that was a good shot of the hill there, and now we're getting the overview to give you all of that, that vision and a preview of where that next circle is going. That was important because it shows you the terrain of this hill. And it's tough, right? Because you want to play down the bottom because then you've got your backs to your zone, but then you've got people so far above you, and elevation matters. High ground matters in Apex, and it's going to be tough to stop those people getting angles and shots on you from the top of the hill.
And in Apex, I mean, overall, with the high ground advantages out here too, the Horizon, yes, from Meteor. So earlier on when they were trying to get the reset, we saw the res earlier on too from them. Can the clutch happen? But here comes the slide-in from the third party. Meteor get eliminated. And so many other teams taking advantage as Falcons just slide in for free to take out Disguised.
Okay, the march forward continues. Second place still, not a bad series so far for the Falcons. I mean, a lot of people said when they were struggling that Hal should get back on the horizon, but we haven't seen that yet. Sticking to their guns, and it seems to be working out for them on day 2 of the group stage.
Sorry, not in this meta. Bombardment of nades now coming in as GHS get pushed on. Arufa gets taken out first. Dragons on the other side. Brutus with a patient play. He's recovered, but the hip fire shots on the 30-30 from the crouch is going to be just enough. Literally one shot, by the way.
This is a much better series from Dragons. They try to reset X and Y. Have got a very small amount of cover to play here, but at least 2 sides are blocked off by the solid cover. Virtus Pro just waiting in the wings here for them to peek over. But Slayer's patience will not be rewarded this time.
Falcons are still zooming, by the way, on the Trident. That's what you hear in the distance. They're trying to find some space in this zone after utilizing that dome.
That's actually a sick spot by X and Y. You see that the boxes on one side, the walls on the other, plus their walls, they're actually...
The double dome on each side of the gravity cannon here. Team Burger get to take out Orgless and Hungry.
So as we said, there's arguments for and against whether you want to be on the bottom or the top of this hill, but Team Burger are going to take away one of those positions as like 3 different teams say, we don't care if you've got a catwall, we are going to try and hit one of those traces on you, and then all of a sudden you get the armor tick and you can actually spray from there. Oh no, they finish off way as well.
Yeah, 9 Impulse going to be able to get that here too. Dragons, where can they go? The Newcastle wall right next to them, falling short with Complexity playing by the lip of the fence. GG holding the fence over to their left. We saw what they were doing with the Sheila earlier on, and VK Gaming now move up.
Jump shot goes shy, and he gets stunned by the bombardment as well. Finding scraps of armor in the death boxes.
Let's get Screen Strago here too, and Falcons are also looking at this fight. Retago's still alive though as a solo, while VK Gaming playing on one end of this final zone. The majority of these squads will be moving up from the north side, while Aurora have been holding that left choke for so long, uncontested, looking at everything else happening in front of them.
Remaining 2 members of Burger have been removed. Falcons slide down the hill, but they are very well aware that there's 4 or 5 teams above them that are going to come sliding down on their heads in just a second.
We saw that Hal was able to get that knock onto Monsoon, but there was nothing that he could do as Dragons get the respawn to Brutus.
Okay. I mean, VP, Source, GG, and Complexity are all looking at you as you do this. Can't imagine they're going to last very long as round 5 does start closing in just a few seconds.
Right now, with the way that Falcons is playing, they were able to get that reset that we saw earlier. They're currently sitting in 2nd place overall in this lobby behind Noctem, who are not anymore present. With 41 total points, GG zip away on the Trident, right behind that dome, but they're being looked at by everyone.
Considering how scant the cover is on this hill though, Vicky, having the Trident is actually huge. That gives you a huge amount of impregnable cover to sit behind and try and save some of your cooldowns, your Gibby bubbles.
In that positioning though, now you have Complexity collapsing on Falcons. Dragons, who had just fully came up to a full 3, are also trying to take the same fight. This is forcing Falcons to now move forward to look at Gaming Gladiators. Which team do they look at first? Bocheck in hand from Zero. They still can't ignore Gaming Gladiators, but with the dome right behind them, they use it as their advantage to move forward, to take out VK Gaming as they're eliminated. 6 squads left, and Falcons have gone everywhere in this final zone.
6 seconds on the bubble. He can't save Hal. They have to try and play their life here. Hal's been finished off completely, so they're down to a duo, and Aurora, who bided their time at the south side of the zone, now pop across to see if they can perhaps finish off the other 2. Source go down up the top, and now it's a Dragons v GG 3v3 on the north side.
But it's GG that have that high ground advantage. You were talking about the slope, and with the dome and the positioning of the dome too, you could poke out your body even further here. They try to approach here. Gaming Gladiators now looking at this fight, trying to contest them on the other side of that Newcastle wall, but it's a trade-off. Dragons get eliminated, and no one's there to 3P this super vet GG from resetting, because Aurora are focused on Falcons.
Falcons are trying to run away right now. They do not want to take a fight. They're hoping somehow the other 2 teams will get into each other, but it is a hope that is going to go unrequited, unheard here. Aurora will take them out. GG comes sliding down.
And with the advantage too, they were able to fully reset, leaving just Aurora waiting out the Sheila, and it is a final shot of the Massive to be the nail in the coffin to allow GG to move up in 3rd place and to take game number 5. 2 dubs, by the way, in this entire series. Remember, we saw them win game number 1 on World's Edge, now winning the first game on Storm Point for game number 5.
Yeah, and that's a top 5 position currently for GG. Something they're well accustomed to at LAN over the last 6 months. Team Falcons, however, have moved into 1st place, overtaking Fnatic with that performance. So 1 map left. Trying to think of both of them. Yeah, both of them have played 3 series, so this will be their final tally for the group stage. Falcons have an advantage of 7 points, and they can see if they will hold on to that in game 6 here and potentially take 1st place, though I would dare say Aurora have the easiest path to that, considering they've already got 120 under their belt.
Huge, but it just allows teams now to see where they are before going into that last game. Overall, Gaming Gladiators with that dub with I was gonna say 7 KP here for them to hold that lead. Beautiful performance from Gaming Gladiators, where they also had recognized when they were kind of playing right next to Complexity on the very top by that gravity cannon, they also knew that they had to move forward. They utilized the Trident, they had the bubble, but I like the macro decision that we're seeing from a lot of these teams. Do we take this fight with the bubble still behind us? We've already expended having that cover. Now we have to time these fights and getting knocked. Gaming Gladiators, they had lost 1 in that engagement with Dragons, but there was nobody around them to stop them from getting that res.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It's like the teams, they use the other team's Gibby bubbles as a resource, right? As soon as they see that coming out, they are jumping into those just because they know there is some amount of safety, even if there's another team in there. Having a look at our top 3 for the 5th game, you can see Waltzy leading from the front there. 7 kills for the big man as Aurora played their spot smartly from the bottom of the hill, pick up 5 kills and a 2nd. Gaming Gladiators, they had a tough run of it, but once they cleared out the north side, it was kind of all of theirs from that point onwards. And look, it is our powerhouses, Falcons, Gaming Gladiators, Aurora, but there's someone else on top of them, Vicky.
Yes, there is. It is Noctum tied with 51 points with Team Falcons. That is after they were able to win 2 games back-to-back on E-District, but still, that game alone, you saw that even though they did go out a little early, they were still able to get a lot of pressure, still kind of riding that momentum on trying to get KP that they need to build up that gap. Because even though there was like a 15 or so point difference between that last game into this one, they still were able to keep themselves up there.
Yeah, well, when you think about the fact that they eliminated Fnatic, the current second leaderboard team, you know, that could have been the difference between Fnatic getting on top of Falcons or staying on top of them in the overall standings here or not. So, yeah, and look at that. They're catching up to them overall as well. They're only 4 points behind them here. This is nuts. I mean, it is not, you know, out of the realms of possibility that Noctum leapfrog both of those teams and actually finish on top of the overall standings here at the end of this group. Again, Alliance probably is going to overtake both of them.
Yeah, especially with the way that they were playing yesterday or earlier on today too, but seeing how they're going to be able to push that into that next group, it really does rely on this final game as we take a look at the second page on the teams that weren't able to perform but still have perhaps another chance here for looking at some of these squads.
I wonder if any of the talent picked Noctum in their
I don't
predictions.
think so.
Because if they deserve a pat on the back. That would be like a giga brain play.
They had a rough start, I believe, ramping up into day number 1. But day number 2, they absolutely did wake up with Gaming Gladiators, though, taking that last game up on that hilltop where a lot of these spots were not expecting the circle to push down on top of that gravity cannon, especially up that hill.
Yeah, exactly, right? We had Stormcatcher, there were teams to the left, teams to the right. That's usually how they split it up. And then all of a sudden, you're all having to funnel through those 2 like narrow stairwells as you come down south. And it was really the teams who were a little bit lucky that, you know, like X and Y that were playing in the Spider Choke that just got to sit there for a little bit longer. So, yeah, another interesting pull that created some interesting results in Game 5.
Very similarly to the way that Aurora was trying to hold their positioning too. It's been great all around to see our first game here on Storm Point, but we have some more Storm Point action going into our final game of this series. Don't go anywhere. We got some more action on the other side of this break.
Sony In Zone, the official monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Don't bring him holding down! Down, no gun!
I need to loot, I need to loot.
They're on each other!
I'm ready, I hold.
Take
Focus
space!
top team. Give me a top team.
I can't!
I can wrap them. No,
They're hitting! I'm going in!
I'm ulting on your blast.
The dogs! 100! 1! Dead! Nice!
Nice, boys.
Nice. Good.
Nice.
The passion from the cons from Gaming Gladiators, winning moment for game number 5 has now put them within that top 3. We see Gaming Gladiators right behind Falcons and Noctum, who are currently tied for first place. It's been incredibly tight for our top 3 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it was easy peasy, honestly, for GG there at the end. The other 2 teams were in a pretty bloody struggle there at the bottom, and just sliding down, you know, with the shotguns in hand. Feels pretty good, honestly. You probably picked up some like gold weapons by then. The gold shotgun bolt's like reloading itself as you're just sliding into a victory. And GG walk away with it, and yeah, as we said, move up into that top 5 position. They're not probably going to finish above the other teams in this lobby, such as you know, Aurora, Noctum, Fnatic, and Falcon, but they've certainly put themselves in the conversation. And there was so many doubters, Vicky. Like, you know, they were not a scrim team, but obviously after their domineering performance of Mannheim, you had to wonder whether that was just an online thing and they were trying stuff out, you know, limit testing. That's what teams always say when things go wrong in scrims, right? But now we're on day 2. We can kind of forget about all that and say, this is real. This is what gets recorded in the history books, and GG are doing it like they did last LAN.
Interesting, interesting. Maybe this is why I don't get to see their POVs or something. They got something cooking up secretly in the lab here or something. But, you know, I honestly, when I take a look at the POIs that were prioritized on Stormpoint, GG, they land in mill, right? A great POI
yeah,
also when it comes to rotating around with the Trident too. If you were able to move up to where you need to go to play objective and to get into that next zone, and they were able to make it work. A Trident that actually put them in a position to hold the top of the hill there when the fighting commenced on the southern side of that zone. Yeah,
there's a few advantages of it, right? It's quite a quick looting path. The way you can get through there, you have to get a crafter. You've got the Trident, as well as some quite good loot from it as well. So yeah, no wonder it's going in second pick. And we'll see if it supports their charge to the top of this series once again. Vicky Zone doesn't look like it's going to be that close to them this time. We'll have to see where it does end up pulling, though. Certainly not going to be on top of them. You also get a little bit of PvE. Depends on how much you want to do. You will generally go for the flyers in mill if you see 1 or 2 of them around. The Prowler Den, not so much. Of course, you got the Trident. You're fast rotating. You don't want to stick around for Prowlers, which can take quite a while. They're more of an edge team sort of option, right? So you kind of only do them if there's maybe an Evo Harvester that's not close enough and you need to get up to blues. And at the moment, you can actually see on the map, it's actually a very weird Evo Harvester from them. It's way out in the sea, which means you kind of have to go there with the Trident to grab it. It slows down your looting a bit, a little bit of an annoying one for GG. But at this point, okay, maybe they do take it because as you can see, Zone very far away from them. They've got Ring Console. They had that information, so they're like, well, we may as well just stick around and take that option because we're not going to get a priority spot in the zone anyway.
Which was fine for them in that last game too, right? We're still shifting all the way over to the east side, but slightly more north than what we saw in that last zone. So, and I also agree, by the way, I've always thought that that Evo Harvester positioning it in the water has always been so awkward.
I swear they fixed it at some point, because at some point there were even more spawning out in the sea, and it was in the patch notes. They said there was less Evo Harvesters spawning in the sea, but apparently not all of them.
Some pirate treasure over there, but they were able to get the Evo Harvester, at least for now, for planning out where they're going to be moving to. But seeing where that zone is pulling to as well, Reignite have that Ring Console over by Command Center. They know where it's going to be moving. Team Falcons too, holding that north side, which could benefit them here looking at what they have.
Yeah, look, so last time we had the Stormcatcher Stone and we said GHS Professional, you know, 19th spot, maybe this is a chance for them. They've actually slipped down to 20th, so all right, they've got a second chance at it. Let's see if they can pick up some points here in their last tilt at things.
VKG on the low ground, while VP move up from Coastal. Trying to get some cracks here, so trying to farm some damage. Triple take in the hands of Queso here. But while they are going to be able to try to put in some pressure, also going to prevent them from maybe finding a comfortable rotate into that zone from the south side here. As long as they keep that up, Guild has already rotated out of Devastated Coast, so no team that could potentially come in from right behind VP.
DK Gaming are at 16th spot overall. That is definitely at risk of being overtaken by teams in Group A or Group D, who of course will be playing their final match after this one. A few points could go a long way here.
Look how quickly Reignite was able to get on top of the building south of Lightning Rod here. And Dragons and Fnatic are meeting up with them as Team Falcons now rotate on the edge of zone, saying that they want to be able to get even more utility. Playing objective, there's a ring console over by Zoo Station, some extra loot. Replicator on top of that too.
Yeah, so Reignite landing Command Center, that means, of course, yeah, it's not that far of a rotation, so they do get that good spot up on top of the building. But I will say, with the meta the way it is, the weapon meta, I feel like, does dictate a little bit how these Thunderwatch-ish zones play out.
He gets
We'll get back to that.
Yeah, he gets to stick with the Arc Star instead. Oh no! Forces them off the Trident, forces them off the high ground, and it is LG out for blood. They lose out on Sweet. No way! No way! The PK shot knocks down Sykes. They don't want to overextend, but the bombardment gets the re-knock. Funk fighting for his life with the Newcastle knockdown. He has to move the mobile shield, and now while Sweet is up, he will be able to help him out.
Seriously getting that many reses off? I mean, Funk was just reset after reset, but Phony holds down left click. He does go down though. Jesco, it's up to the controller player here for Gil to try and clutch this one. Out dancing around the Evo Harvester. He does get it.
What a fight when they had gotten stuck off the Trident. Are you kidding me? The immediate turnaround here. Wow.
Awesome. Good turnaround from Gil, and they need that to push up further than the 8th, 6th place they currently have.
That is with LG being eliminated first in this final game, in this lobby, at 13th with 22 points.
LG are definitely going
To the
to
losers
the
bracket.
elimination bracket, Vicky. Yeah, they're
Wow.
in 30th place right now. They cannot make it. This has been a horror start to the tournament for them. We know Sweet's got it in him, but we haven't seen that level of play he's capable of in these first 2 days. All right, so going back to my diatribe there about the gun meta. So on top of Thunderwatch, right, sometimes if you've got ARs, you won't necessarily take as much damage because people, you know, don't want to waste that much ammo poking up the top of you. But as we know, everyone's got a scout in this meta. They can do a lot of damage per bullet, and there's lots of places where teams will be able to find angles on you on top of Thunderwatch. So balanced out a little bit by the fact that you can hide behind the Newcastle walls and whatnot. Meds are a little less valuable in this current meta, so you can afford to use the, you know, 1 cell per 2 shield points. It'll be interesting to see how that affects how the top of Thunderwatch plays out if it does continue to pull up that hill, because teams can also just run up there. A Newcastle could slam straight on top of you, or perhaps even just an evac on your head with a Gibby Bubble.
And with the amount of teams already around that building, with Falcons playing on the outskirts instead, not really wanting to get into the chaos of what's happening. I mean, even if they wanted to, it was already taken up because they didn't really have that ring console there over by Lightning Rod. That's why they were forced to go to Zoo Station originally, to be able to get that scan to make sure where that zone was pulling. So now they're playing on the edge of that next zone, as you can see here. And with so many of these other squads still on that southern side, still banking on Stormcatcher.
Moment of truth. It goes down. It goes down onto Stormcatcher.
This helps out Falcons too, though, because even if they rotate from the edge of the zone, whereas you still have Team Burger there, they're actually shooting at Guild, who are slowly approaching Falcons. They're going to be in their line of sight in just a second, but it's less contested compared to having to come from the high to low ground, where you could see Complexity, Gaming Gladiators, Fnatic, and so many other teams waiting for them.
Teams didn't predict it last game. They went to Stormcatcher, it went south. This time they predict north, and it's gone down towards it again. Again, it's probably not going to end on Stormcatcher, so that means that the positions available are near the gravity cannon, below Stormcatcher, just above where it finished last game, or potentially even a little bit further to the right where those buildings are. We've seen quite a few teams zones end there. And currently, it looks like Team Burger are in the secret facility. It's incredibly strong in this meta. You sit up there, you've got a sharp high ground. You set up all the rampart walls and you just lay waste to the lobby from that position. Team Falcons were playing it a lot in these scrims, but that was when they were reading the zone correctly. It looks like this time they haven't predicted it will be here, and as a result, they don't take up that position.
And Burger are there, and they're also playing to carry a lot of space there too, because there's an Evil Harvester to their south side. One member of Team Burger's inside the building. But looking at a lot of the action happening here in Stormcatcher, we see Disguise, knowing that there was that team right on top of them. They were trying to get some poke pressure going. Knocked him on the other side, too, of this building. BK Gaming coming in from the south. Green Stego is going to slowly start approaching here as well. But most of this congestion point, again, is from that Lightning Rod area. GHS holding onto the roof, and I do agree, Genome. I feel like we've seen the zone mostly pull over to that east side by that fence line, closer to those buildings, but we're going to have to see while VKG come into the zone with full reds.
Yep. The winning championship spot from Duck Zero that we were talking about before, just about 2 years ago. GHS Professional stayed within Stormcatcher, retreating behind the bubble, behind the rampart wall. They try and dodge around. Are they going? No, just holding the Arcstar in case the team wants to re-engage. Now they'll look at taking the roof, where it looks like they've got a couple of their own walls set up.
I have to say, because we haven't mentioned it yet, Genome, Disguised with the Seer, I was just reminded, it was almost like, all right, just to let you know, the Seer being able to have that space. It's like, what? Seeing so much. I mean, sometimes when you're in a position right now, knowing where you're standing, and this is the final game, you have to do everything to at least try to secure some KP.
Yeah, this is the final game for every team in this lobby for the group stage, right? Got to get the points, got to try something. Meteor still sticking on the horizon as well, just for the Legend enjoyers out there. I mean, we did see quite a few teams, especially the more aggressive ones, try bang out during scrims, and it actually looked good on a couple of teams I saw, especially some of the really aggressive teams like Shadow when they were playing it. You know, you can still get a lot of cover out of those bang smokes. Obviously, it's weaker than it's ever been. She was 100% pick rate for a long time, and those smokes got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. But still, it does provide a way to move around the map fluidly.
Yeah, if you're not going to be opting for that Gibby, you're not going to be utilizing that Trident. Instead, you're going to be utilizing the Bangalore smokes.
Though I think the teams were trying it, especially when Mirage came out, and it was more of like a, you know, it's already confusing enough when Mirage ult, but you add some smoke into the mix and you've got no clue what's going on.
Yeah, good luck figuring it out there. Then you add a bubble in case they had that. Gibby, Orgless, and Hungry get eliminated in 18th, another team that we say goodbye to in this last game lobby.
So again, that's definitely going to mean the elimination bracket for them as they crash out that 31st spot.
Look at where the zone, the circle is pulling towards, though, Genome, towards that north side, close to where Complexity we're banking on by that hilltop, getting in a line of sight of the teams that are by that building of Lightning Rod, Gaming Gladiators on the other side to match up that hill. But there's a lot of open space there aside from that fence line that you do not want to rotate there early because so many teams could shoot at you and look at you at the same time.
Yep. Falcons actually going around the side now to take on Guild. Here we go. We're going to get some sight of that action. I think it's another surprise for Guild when they're in the Trident, and this time having to fight a team coming out of the zone. Do Falcons have the firepower to push through the other Aussies? They do not!
He was one trying to engage on that fight, trying to take a different flanking angle. Does not work out for Falcons as they try to send it onto Guild. No third party in sight too.
All right, Reignite have got the Sheila out. Let's have a listen into their comms.
Show me back there.
ちょっと迂回しないとだね。ここで出しちゃうわ。
まあさっきの候補でストキャ側飛ばそう一旦。せーの。これ飛べる。そんな届かないかな。
ならそう、さっきの角じゃね。戦闘全然いないよ。
ああ、そうね。
ここでいいね。
ここだね、ここだね。
家中まずすぐ抑えるか。
ピクピクピク。ニューキャピクニューキャピク。
一旦角にニューキャルさせてるこれ。
どこ家中
うん、中。
オッケー。セーブ。家から壊されるこれ。ちょっと打ち返すわ一旦。ピーク来たらどうも欲しい。あーこれ壊されるな。下がったら大丈夫。強いある。
All right, we just got a little bit of a graphic there showing us the standings as they are right now. There's a couple of teams in this last game that are looking to get above the threshold and make it into that.
Oh, what the great, bro. Quick scope. That was disgusting. The 210. It's not going to be able to do much. Okay,
Well,
he
if
tried.
he keeps doing that, Source are going to be one of the teams that makes it, Vicky, because they are on 86 points and close to it.
And it was a trade-off too. He gets a hit with a Kraber, then he gets hit with a Kraber shot afterwards. And Meteor just making sure to let them know, all right, hold on, you think you are him, but also we have the sauce here with the Kraber. But you have to watch out in the distance. Another team taking some shots at them. I believe that's Fnatic looking at this fight, looking for an opportunity to 3P here. They try to fully slide in. Libble Ace alive here still. Croton, they lose out on the Gibby. Kraber shot, can he land his shot? It was a trade-off originally here too, so it's a 2v2, but with the Horizon able to get up onto the high ground just as quickly, he cannot stop the res from happening. Fnatic now moving for the third party.
The quick reload with boosted loader, but it's still not enough to get past the Newcastle resing on a height, and Source have taken over this position effectively. That said, 30 seconds, the zone will start moving, and all of these teams, including Fnatic, who is sitting to the north of them, by the way, will have to move.
Still was landing those Kraber shots. Only so much you could do here as Source X and Y try to chase after him, but they can't fully commit while Meteor is in the line of sight of the squads, still hanging out on top of Stormcatcher. We also saw in your feed that Reignite got eliminated, which is scary to say when they were on the cusp of being sent down to that loser's bracket right alongside Disguised. May not be enough here for that team here now, while Fnatic still on full blues are going to move in.
Yeah, it definitely won't be enough.
Yeah.
There's many teams just a few points behind them with a whole series to go, right? So it looks like, Source X and Y at 88. That's, that's maybe just around the kind of point total that you might need. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see where Groups A and D end up at the end of their 6 games. Team Burger down at 73 points in total right now. Would have to have a banger end to this game to make it out. That said, their position is okay, tenable for the moment. As you can see there, we've got teams right below Reignite, and as it happens, they fall out.
Source X and Y get taken out. Team Burger now taking some damage from the Sheila right across from them, playing up that low ground, but they get shot from behind. Meteor, the solo finally called out as Yuka's going to be able to pick that up. So many teams are looking at them too, playing off this low ground. Where do you go? You hide behind the rampart walls while Disguise still alive. Trying to engage in this fight originally with the Seer ult, giving them the information that they need.
Oh, Burger being eliminated. That might be it for them on 73 points. Meanwhile, Complexity has just made it to triple digits, 100 points sitting at the top of the zone. They're looking good to actually win this game, by the way. But not only that, that'll push them into potentially the top 10, which would give them some of those preferred draft spots.
Gotta also keep your eyes on Noctem too here. Still alive, still sitting in that first place spot. Gaming Gladiators now moving in.
Green Stego out. They're on 109 overall. Should be fine.
Skies still taking their time with the team right above them. It's Noctem on the other side. GHS still holding high. BK Gaming. Aurora on the other side too, as they are going to finally start moving in a Trident, as you can hear it in the distance. And Gaming Gladiators trying to take shots.
Yeah, Disguised on 77 have just pushed their way into the top 20, but it may not last for long.
Oh, you saw what was happening when they found themselves by that fence line I was mentioning earlier on. Guild now looking at Aurora. Disguise trying to get this res.
Strafing, honestly, looking a little stressed here. He knows how much is on the line in this final game. Noctem's above him, so Fnatic below. GHS actually just trying to hide behind cover here on the roof. Don't think they'll be around for very long. Okay, Strafing Flame.
And with the Seer ult too, they were able to get information on who's above them, who's playing underneath them, where can they go next, a nade right in front of them, and it is not them who have height. The team that is first place right now in this lobby.
Yet Height's not in for the next zone though. They got 15 seconds and they'll have to make this jump down. Do they have bubble ready? Can they force someone else out with a Gibby ult? Disguised! Get a knock as they jump down!
This is huge. Strafing Flame gonna be able to get that advantage for Disguise. Let's jump into it. Let's hit it with Disguise and they come in from the heavens.
VP kill the team. Yeah. Give me life. Chill. No. Stay alive.
It's all you,
I have no shotgun, bro.
You just have to live forever.
Popping the bat, staying alive is Arctic. You can hear the desperation. Only 2 bullets in the EVA 8, and it's not your Newcastle who's the last one alive. They cannot capitalize. GG had moved up, and they're trying to find the solo that is Arctic. Disguise get eliminated in 7th.
Guild picking up some of those kills. They're looking to play with the big boys right now. 128 points on the board. They move into a top 5 overall position. And it is a lot of these overperforming teams that we've still got in the zone here. Fnatic, Guild, Aurora, Complexity, and Gaming Gladiators all doing so well in the group stage.
And GG have 56 points after they were able to clean up what was left of Noctem too. They can easily try to overtake them in that first place spot, just making that statement. Fnatic on the other side of that fence with 9 Impulse still alive from Aurora.
You can see someone getting an advantage with the bin reset there, and 4 bins late in the game with a legendary one will help you a little bit. I mean, having that gold helmet and being able to get your tacticals back even quicker can be so important in these stressed endgame situations.
They just went in with the Trident and the Berry right on top of them to engage on this fight, to sit in this position. Aurora have to move around where they were sitting in by the fence line over to the north side with VK Gaming smack dab in the middle.
Fnatic was slaying it in the first 2 series, but they have been a little lackluster here. Can they bring it back? Can they get up on top of Noctem? They're equal with them and 2 points behind Falcons right now.
Doing the cha-cha slide around the bombardment here too. VK Gaming are looking at 2 teams at the same time. Fnatic now with the Sheila letting it roar as they're forced to move up from the Gibby Dome. Guild get eliminated. 5 squads left in this tiny zone.
Reloads come in, GG are out. Aurora go in for VK Gaming, but Complexity have managed to create space for themselves. They're not getting involved. They are still looking like the victors of our final game.
It's such a good position here. Fnatic with the Graver. The mobile shield laid down. Complexity on the north side. Complexity now take out VK Gaming with Fnatic still alive, but they get taken down almost immediately.
Okay, Fnatic with 1 on the ground. They have to be a little bit more circumspect in how they play this. Somehow maybe getting the reset here? Oh my lord.
The nade is huge here. It actually puts a dent to the way they're trying to reset, but nobody could overextend because all the teams are looking at each other. Dome for dome, but Fnatic put the dome down last.
Oh my god, the nade manages to catch Yuka out. I don't know if they've got time to res him again. Will the Shielders come into play in this last 3 squads? Aurora down first. Fnatic go in. Can they finish it off with a win?
Fnatic now with the height advantage, now with the health advantage, take the final game within the series. They were able to get the reset. They saw Complexity mow down Aurora and they take game 6.
Yuka almost falling over with relief. As we said, they've been struggling, of course not overall, but in this series so far, and a big finish for the hometown team puts them 10 points clear of Falcons and the current lobby leaders.
You said that they were quiet. You said that they need to put our performance here ramping up. 40 total points.
And it was them and the crowd that made some noise in the final game.
I love how you heard the crowd slowly ramping up.
Oh yeah.
The gasp as they got knocked, one getting knocked from Fnatic when they had waited to put the bubble down last compared to the other 2 teams, Aurora and Complexity looking at each other. The standoff.
I mean, they got knocked twice. They got knocked, but like easily the most in that last fight, and they just kept getting resets somehow. The other teams allowing those shield walls to get up, not bursting down the mobile shield. And obviously, the Gibby bubble in those situations is the most important piece of util. just the same as it was last time Gibby was meta. That ability is incredibly powerful, and the person who has that button on their keyboard or controller often has their team's fate in their hands.
Yeah, it's not like the mobile shield, right, where it's now destructible. You can't move it around here. You have to stay settled. And also, in terms of their positioning, I like the awareness. Even when one of the teammates had gotten knocked, they were able to back away, wait, because the Newcastle is incredibly important to try to get that res. Now you're settled down, now you have your cover, and neither team wanted to push because they knew that if they did, it was either complexity. If they moved forward, Aurora was going to shoot at them from behind, and if Aurora moved forward, it was the same thing, while still Fnatic was going to cover them.
Great finish for a great team. It's an incredible group stage from Fnatic, but the real challenge lies ahead. Top 5, top 10 finishes have been commonplace for this team. They haven't lifted a trophy yet, Vicky.
Can the hometown advantage really shine here for Fnatic? I love the energy from the crowd. We're talking about ramping up because in the earlier series that they were playing with B versus C, I believe they had just fallen with just, what, 23 points. As we take a look at the final moment from our last game, Fnatic looking for an angle, getting that Kraber shot, just being the finishing blow for VK Gaming.
By the way, all three of them got purple armor at this point.
Yeah, we saw them with blue armor within the middle to late game there too for a really long time before finally engaging this fight. But this is what I'm talking about. Having the importance of the Newcastle up is huge here. Yes, the nade re-knocks, but what can either of these squads do? They had already expended their own bubble.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like Aurora could have essentially peeked out and done some damage, tried to just poke the shields down a little bit there. Might have been exposing themselves to the Fnatic Sheila.
Oh.
That's what it really is. It's the re-slam from Leica that put paid to complexity in that final circle. I mean, if you allow the circle to get small enough, the slam is so important because you can often do 25 or 50 damage to the entire team as they take 1 or 2 ticks of the zone, as it does physically displace them if you can get it close enough.
That was huge plays here. And like you said, yeah, also being able to slam last, going to be able to break both Newcastle walls if it's big enough there to be able to control a lot of that small space in that last zone. Fnatic with the reset with a huge dub for that final game. Again, they had gotten 23 points in that last series, really waking up after having such a strong performance in game number 1, now holding that top spot.
Aurora looking pretty chill. They did get first place in that series, picking up 62 points. And that put them up to 145 overall and doing amazing. Oirain had a great series, putting up incredible amounts of damage as well.
Good to see how Aurora had no issue also trying different things, right? We saw them utilize the Mirage at some point, feeling pretty comfortable in changing out their play styles and trying to prioritize their positioning in that final zone. That now could be seen into our next series and what our groups A versus D is going to be looking like. Noctum, a team that I would love to highlight. We were seeing them knocking heads in the kill feed. Little screen time here until they made a statement, taking back-to-back dubs on E-District within the series alone.
Man, I'm just so impressed with these guys. I mean, we've known Adonam for a little while now, you know, even going all the way back to the South American days where he was very often a feature of the teams, the SA teams who would make it to LAN. And, you know, we've seen quite a few international melds now, right? I mean, Apex has been joining it recently with sort of, you know, Phony coming over and joining Guild. But just the way that we've seen Adonam join the two Brits and make a team that's a little stronger altogether. So, yeah, an interesting mix, and they've really just shown that, you know, it wasn't a fluke that they got into the finals last time.
Finishing off with what, like 145 points here, tying that with Aurora. And Waltzy finishing off with the most kills for Team Falcons, 13 kills in total, securing themselves in that second place overall standing spot with 147 points.
Yeah, I mean, look, Waltzy is such a consistent performer. You know, we've seen this guy just show up at LAN time and time again. They're definitely going to make it into the winners bracket. And I believe that continues his streak as literally the only ALGS player who's played maybe more than like one LAN, who's never gone to the elimination bracket. An incredible feat. The other 2 players on his team can't boast that. They've got a couple of trophies in the cabinet that maybe they hold over him, but that's still a pretty impressive stat to have on your side.
Also, look at the love here in the crowd. We have Falcons, our squad that has now secured 2nd place overall for now, while Fnatic taking that dub. It's been so exciting to see all the fans just filter in here, and it's just gotten better and better as time has progressed.
Yep, Privacy leading the cheers squad down there. Of course, one of the most incredible analysts in the scene. If you ever caught a stream from him, you know, incredible knowledge that he brings out to both the community and also just a few secrets that I think he keeps for himself and the team.
And Gaming Gladiators ending 3rd overall within this lobby. 7k damage from Light, a team that was able to take 2 dubs, one on World's Edge, the other on Game 5 on Storm Point.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we were, actually, you know, Privacy was, we did a little awards show that he was handing some out, and Light was definitely up there in contention for IGL of the Year in the little unofficial awards that we had. I think I voted for him, and you can see why, right? And IGL being able to put out those kind of numbers is frankly very impressive and does put him up there with other titans of the game like Zero, like Leica.
Helping enable his team there too. Gaming Gladiators really showing up here. Guild also was right behind them originally too. 128 in total. Starting to kind of ramp up, but man, we have so much more games to go. It makes you wonder what the finalized overall standings are going to be looking like for some of the squads that still have some games to go.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about you know, the teams that can sort of push past that that 20th spot, it looks like it might be a little lower than it was in previous times. I think it's, you know, it's usually somewhere around 90, maybe 95, a little lower if the lobby is quite tight. So I think teams like Furia, 100 Thieves will be quite easily making their way past that threshold. The NB Stallions also looking really good for, you know, supporters of ALB, who's made his first LAN in I think it was like 2 years. I mean, you know, this guy was right there holding some of those initial trophies with HAL, and it's been a long journey for him back to the big stage. It's
been exciting to see how everything is played out too for our groups that had played in their last series of games. We still have a lot more Apex to go. I want to hear from the desk after some insane action from Fnatic and the rest of the crowd. How are you guys feeling?
Absolutely on fire. Fnatic get another win, Vicky and Genome, and you guys covered that so well. Thanks for all the casting. We'll take it from here, get back on the desk and talk about it, because yes, this scene got lively, guys. Rain Day here, back with Glitter Explosion, Snipe Down, and Jamerson. It got lively, and I think that's the beauty of being here for Fnatic. They have a chance to instill actual energy into this arena. In the last moment possible, they push themselves ahead of what we most likely see as Falcons, although we're waiting on those final numbers in just a moment. But it's very fitting for them to have had this type of performance coming out in the only broadcast that we've had here in hometown Japan.
Yeah, I mean, they are just so good at clutching up in those situations. And you were saying it while we were watching, Rain.
Yeah.
You saw all the Fnatic signs, the banners, the audience hype when they do well.
It started to move. Everything started to change. And I think that also impacts the other players on stage, benefiting. Maybe not now because the set is over, but this next series, we do know it will be activated for sure. Let's take you back, though, through how this series ended with games 4, 5, and 6 in those final circles. Jamerson, I'll kick it off with you in game 4.
I mean, there's something in the water for Noctum. Back-to-back here on E-District. There was absolute control coming out from them. And honestly, with a lot of the other teams in this lobby starting to pick things up, particularly there on E-District, another team that had a resurgence was Complexity, who were able to perform and find themselves in in these late game circles. But Noctum, they have been able to fight extremely well in the bubble. You can see how well that they're able to call these targets out, all three of them basically facing off against one player peeking at a time. So they did a great job of just controlling the late game lobbies, controlling the late game circles, and honestly, it was just complete control for them.
Playing this patiently is not easy to do. I know that's the theme that we've talked about again and again as we come back on desk, that patience is the name of the game for this meta. When you're bubbling, when you're using your Newcastle wall, and being the person who's thought 3 steps ahead against the person who's thought 2. But at this point, there are no necessary steps ahead when you're playing against teams who are just on fire and performing this way individually, but also as a unit. Of course, I'm talking Gaming Gladiators. They have really done what they came here to do after 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about teams winning multiple games in each series, but it seems like there are certain teams that just end up locked in more so than these other teams. Being able to win multiple games is no small feat at all. And Gaming Gladiators is showing that last tournament was not a fluke. They are by far one of the most patient teams we saw with the bubble placements. They let the other teams use them first. They follow it up, make the other team make a move. And they're just making teams uncomfortable with their coordinated play. And look at this. I mean, they knew to play from up top. They knew working their way down the hill from height was the easiest way to win this game. Everyone kind of collides down the hill once people start working their way up, and they're able to just get free kills, take the win.
Maybe the ultimate showcase of patience. I'm not making a Dragon Ball Z reference here with a Goku launching a Spirit Ball down onto Frieza, but I do have to say here, this is like the closest thing to it. Fnatic wait this thing out, and finally, after all the bubbles go down, are able to close it out good.
And what's crazy, too, is the fact that we were able to even get this lull, to get the reset, and they were able to save the most important part of their kits for the final moments. The Rampart walls and that mobile shield allowed them to save the bubble for now. When they put their bubble down, it's the last one. You watch the other 2 pop while Complexity and Aurora are battling it out, and then they get the final slam, all because they were able to go for a reset with that Newcastle. I mean, this was such a good example of why Fnatic is so difficult to deal with. They handle a situation that a lot of other teams would absolutely crumble under.
And we were watching Yuka or Meltzer's perspective during the game, but when you see it from Laika's angle, I mean, that fight was won. He was waiting with that Newcastle wall. That 50 damage, that stun coming down on those players in that small zone, knocks 2 of them back into the zone, and now obviously Fnatic have just a few shotguns away from getting the victory. And that puts them into the 20-point threshold for 1 game. And I think that will have done enough. You see Complexity, Aurora, VK Gaming, and Gaming Gladiators rounding out the top 5 there in Match 6 as we finally have our results up here for you. Green Stego continuing to be pretty consistent across the board. Falcons, Dragons, Orglis and Hungry, Zero Tenacity, and LG, all with goose eggs here. Bottom 5 teams, a few of them, though, still will have made it into that winner's bracket, as it is, of course, still 1 more series to play, but we know that it's going to be very, very hard, almost technically impossible for them to pass Falcons. As we get a look at our series results, and my goodness, Noctum have split the win, but off a tiebreaker, you would assume, have taken first place here, technically, Lauren, over the rest of the lobby. 2 series in a row for Noctum.
I mean, they're looking scary right now.
That is unbelievable.
In a lobby with Aurora, who's matching your points, and we saw just how strong Aurora was as well. This is a really impressive performance. Only 1 point behind them, though, is Gaming Gladiators. Complexity, the team we talked about needing to get at least 33 points, get 55 points with that aggression. What is in the water in this series?
It's really unbelievable. And I mean, just the consistency factor. You can tell sometimes teams just come into it having played well at the start of the day or in one series, and they just carry that momentum forward tonight as we get a look at the overall standings. Fnatic leading the entire teams here with 160.
Yeah, I mean, you would almost think it's Championship Sunday with the way this crowd is, listening to Fnatic and the roars and the eruption, and I can't imagine what that feels like for them. I mean, looking at some of these teams, it's really good to see Guild that far up. I think there's some question marks with the firepower that Phony lost out on, adding into his new teammates, but I think it fits directly into his playstyle. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where Shopify ends up after this next series.
This is true.
I think it'll be cool to kind of compare and contrast. Maybe it works out better for all of them, and you know, it's cool to see like that. It doesn't always work like that.
They need 34 points to tie, which is a decent series. It's not a bad series, to say the least, but we'll see what Shopify Rebellion do, and coming up with this 8 versus D. Jamerson on the back half, the place you don't necessarily want to be. Right now, this is the losers bracket, and any team who is in B versus C, who is in this side of the bracket, will be going to elimination round 1.
Yeah, and there is a lot of room for movement here. I believe that we have 7 teams currently that'll be playing in the next lobby that have already secured their spot in the winners bracket, but down here we have 13 more teams remaining. Furia are right there on the bubble with Reignite, but Reignite have already played all 3, and now Furia with 100 Thieves right behind them. It should be an easy pickup to get up there, but again, with 13 teams, there's a lot of movement, a lot of things can happen, so you're not even safe when you're a team like Furia or 100 Thieves. Even taking a look at Envy and Stallions, you know, it looks like they might have an easy route in, but there's still a lot of teams here in the middle of the pack that can actually propel themselves forward.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, you know, looking at the progression of teams like Cloud9 and Noctum, and of course, second place, Aurora, who have shown up today. I mean, there's so many teams that are making big moves. I feel like it's not reserved for these top dogs that we came into this, you know, tournament with the seeding of first or second place or qualified based on winning one of our split playoffs. We've really been talking more about teams that have found a rhythm at the right time, Lauren.
And that's why groups is so fun too, because I think it gives the teams a little bit of an opportunity to try to find their footing within whatever this lobby is going to be for their individual experience. You have a little bit of leeway knowing that you're not immediately knocked out. Do you want to play through your elimination bracket? No, but figure out how you work within all of these groups and make it your best opportunity to get all the information and all the errors out early.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but the best team is usually just the team that plays best. It's not necessarily the best team with all of the opportunities or all of the skill or all of the talent. When you find momentum, ends up really mattering as to how far you can go. Certain teams have found it, certain teams haven't. One team certainly in a good spot, and in there standing by with Lace, it's Kimchi. Let's see what he has to say. Lace?
Yo, I am here with Complexity. We actually have two people. We got Monsoon and Kimchi. We're nearing the end of our group stages, and it's so good to have you guys. Now, Monsoon, what did you focus on most when analyzing your games before today's matches?
Yeah, I mean, this meta is mostly about control, and since we had two groups already, we got to go back and kind of deep dive into this basis of how we understood spots and how teams were playing with high density spots and stuff like that. So we came in today with a new recipe of how to just set up a spot and how far we could push our utility. So I think that was the main thing, is just understanding the space that we can keep and how to pressure other teams more.
I mean, you took it to the drawing board and you executed it live on stage, so you should be very proud of yourself. Now, Kimchi, do you feel any added pressure or even motivation knowing that you're now one of the top teams in ALGS?
I would say we're just feeling probably a lot more motivated now. All three of us have a good amount of competition experience, so, I mean, just with how we played, because obviously we weren't too happy with how yesterday went. We really wanted to come out strong yesterday so that it wouldn't come down to today. But unfortunately, it is what it is, and so today we really had to perform, and it really felt like, I don't know what it was, maybe it was the food, or maybe we were rested well, but we came in today, we were focused, like Mon said, we were able to just do the things that we need to do, play together, and there was still a lot of points left on the board, for sure, but we're definitely motivated knowing that this isn't even like what we're fully capable of, so we want to carry this momentum and energy into winner's bracket.
Absolutely love that you said motivated. Now, of course, you know, you were talking about the food here in Japan. Monsu, what has been your favorite part about the whole event or even being here in Sapporo?
I mean, everything. The mountains, everything's so beautiful about it. The people, the food, the culture, the stadium, the vibes, everything's really nice. I've probably eaten about 10 pounds of raw fish in the last 3 days, so I've been going crazy with it. There's so much good. Sorry, I was about to curse, but there's so much good stuff. Holy flip.
Nailed it. Now, Kimchi, I heard that you guys are going to go do a little bit of singing. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Hinds.
I know this one.
Yeah.
There we go. This has been Monsoon and Kimchi from Complexity. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Mon. I think we're just getting a call from Disney right now. Lawsuit has been filed. Appreciate that. Who knew we would be getting clearance for some of the classics. Great to obviously talk to Monsoon and Kimchi Lee, whether it is the food or whether it is the vibes. Complexity have found themselves in a position to be staring winner's bracket down for Saturday. Will they stay there? Most likely, but that all depends on what happens in A versus D. B versus C, finished. See you later. It's time for A&D to take the stage. In just a few, we will be coming back with our final series of group stage, and that will set up the 20 teams in the bottom half of the 40 that are here who will be going to our elimination bracket and risk being sent home from the biggest event of the year and from all the delicious food in Sapporo. You don't want to be there, so it's all up to what happens next. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with our final series of the day. in the thick of things and ready to continue.
On fire, my whole team on fire, dominating down to the wire. I said we on fire.
It's all up to Hal. The CEO has to clutch and he can't. GG from the low ground. Take down Falcons and we'll win your game number 1.
What a play from the Gaming Gladiators.
Nah, you don't want no smoke.
Should be able to finish this one off. But Aurora want to make it work, and Aurora will make it work. Amia again with a win here at the ALGS Championships, and Aurora look dangerous.
If we're ever wondering what we meant by vibes-based, that's what we meant. I don't even know what stretch that is.
Micah says, actually, you know what? I'm going to stay in here and I'm going to ruin your day. Noctum Esports, just one more to go, and it will be found. Noctum get the job done. Noctum find another victory, their third of the day. Now, as they look to take out the source, Noctum, where did they come from?
Pay attention to Noctum.
Fnatic go in! Can they finish it off with a win?
Fnatic now with the height advantage, now with the health advantage, take the final game!
Alienware, the official PC of the Apex Legends Global Series.